What are some other shows that we watch that are
Rob,
very...
Your Next Fantasy Factory.
Okay, whatever that is. Is that Robin Big? Is that what you said? Robin Big. Yeah, okay, I don't know about that.
I love Robin.
But there's a lot of TV shows out there right now that depict the lifestyles of the rich and famous. When I was growing up, there was a show called The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous by Robin Leach. Robin Leach, and he was English. And he would travel around the country to all the people in the United States and around the world that were so wealthy, and they could afford anything they wanted. And they would go around and they would show the butlers serving them on their, their their yachts and everything else. So what I'm trying to say is, we get, as a society, we see that and we want that. We kind of want to do that. We want to be rich. We want to be famous. We want to be served. I think that's just kind of human nature. Even though our natural nature, is that right? The nature that Jen is talking about, that may be our nature that we're born with, but sometimes the nature that we're born with and the nature that God gives us when we become a Christian kind of gets clouded by the stuff that we see on TV. Now, if you were to, and I love the stuff at home that I was going to bring, but if you had a trophy up here and you had a cleaning detergent and you compared the two, which one would you rather gravitate to? Which one would show you guys, or what would symbolize greatness to you? Would this symbolize greatness to you?
Oh yeah, free cleaning.
Free cleaning. But if you were the one that had to do it, would that symbolize cleaning products? But that would simulate. That would show that this is greatness compared to a if I had a trophy up here. I know you stole my spot. But what I'm trying to show is that we look at this as not greatness. But we look at trophies and fancy cars and diamond rings and jewelry and things like that. In our society, that's what we look at as greatness, and that's what symbolizes greatness in our society. But you know what? Jesus had a different thing about what he said in Mark. This is what Mark 10, chapter of Mark says in chapter 10 in Mark. It says, "But among you it should be quite different." Okay, he's already saying that it should be different among us, meaning Christians, right? "Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be a servant, and whoever wants to be first must be a slave of all. For even I, the Son of Man," this is Jesus talking, "came here not to be served, but to serve others, and to give my life as a ransom for many." If we want to be like Christ, and I fail every day, but I strive to try to be like Christ, whatever in the things I do or when I talk to people. I want people to see Christ in me, because I talk about this all the time. If they don't see Christ in you, and you go to try to witness to them, or you try to go and offer to pray for them, if you act like everybody else, and you're no different than anybody else, why should they believe you? Why should they listen to you? Why should they think that you have something that they don't, if you're not acting any different? But Jesus came to be a servant. He didn't come to be served. In fact, there's a story in the Bible that talks about before Jesus was getting ready to be crucified, and he said he had all the disciples around him. They were getting ready. You guys, how many of you guys have seen the picture of the Last Supper, where all the disciples are there and Jesus is in the middle, and you got people standing, everybody's standing, and the Bible says that they were arguing with each other who was the greatest among them. And if you've been in church any length of time, that happens all the time in church. People surrounding the pastor and wanting to be close to the worship leader or whoever's in charge, because they want to be great in humans' eyes. But God, you know what Jesus did after that? He showed them a lesson, and he showed them, the Bible says that he came and he took his robe off and he knelt down and does anybody know what he did?
Washed their feet.
He washed their feet.